Hi, everyone. Welcome to Target Practice, a podcast about great managers and how they make decisions. I'm Lior Gerson, CEO of Target Board AI. Today I have with me Lior Bachar, a VP of product from GoTo, who has a lot of experience building and scaling product teams from early stage to scale ups to platformization. Lior, we've been in touch for the last 2 years, and I'm really happy to have you here on the show.
Thank you, Leo. Great to be here.
So, Lior, throughout your career, as a product manager, you had to make very difficult decisions, that had a big impact on your company and your team. What would you say was the best decision, product related, that you've ever made?
So I would say that the proudest decision that I have in my product career was when I joined NanoRep, which was a rather small scale startup. And the product was around how do we create efficiencies and deflection for call centers, where we were a virtual assistant, which today we would call AI. But back then it was just one of those nagging things on the right side of your website. And the goal, the value that we presented to our customers was to deflect from the call center, reduce the amount of call center conversations, and become something that makes the call center more efficient. One of my proudest product decisions led by the company strategy was how do we shift that from just focusing on deflection and focusing on customer experience value. And the proudest decision was that we were able to shift the narrative around the product as a whole from becoming something that you see that nags you on the right side to something that builds your support center, something that builds your agent support center. So the agents are more efficient and more capable. And we did that a lot with showing the value, not changing the product, just showing the value in a different way. We build dashboards and we build utilities that helped our customers to understand the perceived value. And that was in order of magnitude changed the narrative around the product and also increased our revenue aligned with that.
We see that a lot also, right? Where sometimes, it's not about what the product can do, but how you tell that story, and making sure that customers realize, what it can do for them, what's actually doing for them. Which a lot of times, you're right, it's much easier than, building new capabilities. Cool. Now, the flip question, right? So, what would you say was a decision that you've made that you were less proud of?
So I would call it more of a process rather than a decision. But one of the things that I did during the late stages in GoTo was that we created a platform. And once you create a platform, you need to consolidate a lot of tools and you need to consolidate a lot of reports. And we were very heavy on Tableau and other tools that our internal customers were using. And one of the things that I was asked to change as the person who leads the data team was to change the board level reportings. We basically needed to consolidate a few different sources, align them, and create a simplified reporting structure for internal consumers to consume and then report to the board. The mistake or the regret that I have around that was that I didn't treat our internal customers as I would treat external customers with the same level of empathy and understanding of the problem space. We went in there with the understanding that we have a corporate mandate, the exec team is pushing for this, and this makes sense. So we need to do that, and you guys don't have a choice. You just need to align to that. One of the things that I should have done differently was to treat those customers just like I would expect to treat other customers and my team to treat other customers. And sit with them, understand their pain points, understand the mitigation plan for the change management, build tools, which we later on did after reflecting on our mistakes for the migration, and just understand that in some cases, velocity of going to production is not necessarily the key KPI. It's also the way that you approach a project and the way that your customers are getting value from their product. And we were able to fix that about 3 months in. But it took a lot of energy and effort to fix that mistake. And that's definitely something I regret and something I would change anytime in the future.
So in that instance, you were prioritizing velocity over sort of the actual value?
I was prioritizing velocity rather than compassionate and empathy to my other internal customers because
Okay.
I was taking them from granted, and that wasn't a right approach.
Well, it's very, very big of you to be open about that. It's not taken for granted. Thank you for sharing that. Did you encounter any situation where having the right data at the right time make a big impact on how your decision was made?
Yes. So one of the things that having the right data really changed the entire decision philosophy that we had was around pricing and packaging. We did a pricing and packaging practice for one of our products. And one of the things that came from me initiating this was, oh, we have this for 5 years. It works well. Don't change it. It's too complicated to change this. It will skew the numbers. Let's not do something so dramatic. And one of the things that I did is I went very deep into the data, and as deep as you can. Like I looked at line items with my team, and one of the things we realized was that our current pricing and packaging, now old, was very much trying to fill a utility spot. So if you have something that relates to the problem that we're trying to solve, you can buy either of the packages, and it doesn't necessarily make any difference between the different packages. The difference was the features, and the product became a feature buffet. So you can either get everything or you can get a subsection of the buffet. And the data actually told us a different story. It told us, first of all, that we can generate velocity in acquisition. We can generate that velocity when we compete with our competitors, which we were not. We were pricier than them. It showed us that we have a clear ICP definition, so clear personas that we can sell to in 3 different verticals, and that generates 70% of our total market share. So if we target those personas with tailored packages, we can extract more revenue from them, but also provide much more value for them instead of them going and choosing what part of the buffet they want. So we changed the structure to something super simplified, good, better, best, just like the industry likes. We splitted the better tier into 3 ICP-oriented packages, and we created the best tier as something that generates sales leads, so sales can talk about the value. That was all in the data. We just never spent enough time to analyze that. Once we went live, we obviously had a few dashboards to monitor progress, and our hypothesis with velocity, ICP-oriented packaging that drives higher ADS and sales leading to more value creation and therefore higher contract values was correct, and we were very happy about the results.
Well, building tech pricing always looks like the most complicated things to do.
Yeah. And you
And
don't necessarily think about this when you approach a product, right? Like us as product managers, I remember earlier in my career, pricing was something that we were not really influencers of. But today I see my role as a product manager to really influence pricing to the point that I can come up with the right narrative around the product that can generate the right pricing and packaging.
how did the existing customers react to changing the pricing of the packages?
So when we did the models, we anticipated some customers being very unhappy, but one of the things that was a gating decision was that we are not changing existing packages, at least as of now. So we are not forcing anybody to move. There was a risk that we accepted where higher tiers would go to the lower tier because it solved their problem. We didn't see that in a significant number enough that needs to change our decision. And another risk that we took was that we are shifting some of the e-commerce customers to touch customers to sales. And that was, again, a risk that we took. And after a few months of that being real, it started to balance out again. So I would say customers got a better experience, which is what we aim for, but they also got a much more tailored product to their needs instead of a utility that does everything. When I held that meeting, I said, we don't sell Swiss Army knives. We sell tailored solution to the need that that our customers have, and that really changed the narrative around the product.
Understood. Amazing. So, what about a situation where you said, well, guys, this should be a data-driven decision. I need this data, but the data was not there to make it?
Yeah, that's a great question, and unfortunately, this happens a lot, especially at larger scale companies, because sometimes you're getting measured on outputs and not on outcomes. And I have a really good story around that, where I was leading the platform, and one of the things that was driven by sales was that we need to create a multi SKU. So a SKU that sells two products from our platforms in order to generate more revenue, because we have a lot of customers, and if they buy one, they would buy two, and that makes it easy. And we went into that solutioning phase before we really understood the problem, but also understood the fit. So we didn't have the data that suggested that one customer or persona would actually buy two of the products. And one of the things that we were trying to do is to bridge a gap between two different types of industries to a point where we sold unified communication solutions and IT solutions. If you think about it, it's pretty clear that the buyer is not necessarily the same buyer, but that is easy to say in hindsight. We could have seen it in the data. Not only that it's as simple as different email addresses, but also different personas within the organization. Some come from marketing, some come from the CIO office, some comes from the IT buyer. So we went ahead and we prioritized outcomes. That was a mistake, because in reality, once we shipped, we saw that the traction was not worth the cost. And when we did the postmortem, we understood that the data was already there. We just needed to harvest it, and we were just not paying enough attention to that. It's easy for me to say this from a product seat, because this was a sales initiative, and you know how sales work. But it's definitely something that I would push back in the future.
It's amazing. What's your take on AI, like for product managers? How is it affecting, product managers, product leadership, and from what you've seen?
So my take on AI is, first of all, it's real. Like, a lot of people are either on either camps. Like, it's going to change the world, or it's not going to change the world. I think it will, and it will I think in a slightly different way than you see when you don't practice AI. So I see myself as a practitioner, and I use AI in every aspect of my life today, from personal stuff to work related stuff. And I think one of the realizations that I had is that AI is actually accelerating decision making rather than just amplifying my ability to produce more or to analyze stuff. It's actually leading me to a point where my decision making is faster. I can analyze things in a better, more coherent way, and frame things in my mind in a much better way. I'll give you a good example from product management practice. So one of the things we follow is the writing culture. We write PR FAQs, and we write very deep epics and what we used to call PRDs, but not in a way that it's an extensive document that is like 6 pages long and everybody just hates reading it. In a way that we use it as an instrument of thought. So we start writing, we share this with our colleagues for feedback. There's never a final version. We get feedbacks on the doc itself. We continue to iterate until we get to a point where, and especially in strategic documents, that's really critical to create alignment and to provide context. If in the past, when I used to do that, it took me sometimes days to craft this instrument of thinking, today I can do it in hours. And the reason for that being so meaningful for somebody like me is, first of all, product management is what I still think is an art. And it's not science. It's not something that you can just write a prompt and you will get an answer. For me, as somebody who's dyslexic, that helps with all the grammar and spelling and accelerate things quite significantly. But it also is something that I can throw some things on the wall, no shame, and get some feedback. Now, it hallucinates, it's not accurate, you need to include a lot of judgment. That's why humans are still going to be around. But it's a real instrument for our ability to think faster and really drive decision faster. And I think that one of the things that I really measure both on my personal style and also in my work ethics is how fast is the signal to decision to execution is, and AI definitely accelerated that.
It's amazing. If you had to give a recommendation for other VPF products, like a secret sauce that you think would be critical for them to be successful, what would that be?
So let me double down on decision velocity because it's something I'm really increasing my focus on. I'm a big believer in the constraints theory. I think for us it's something that it's almost mandatory to read the book The Goal and understand how constraints work. It's definitely real in software, just as it is in manufacturing. And the way for you to really take that to the next level is to just understand the signal to decision to execution cycle and measure the time between that. So I'll give an example. In the past, we used to do weekly business reviews every Wednesday, 10 a.m. It's when the entire team comes in and we go through dashboards and we see signals, and we have analysts that gives us inputs and insights, and we make decisions based out of that. These decisions go into a cycle, and then the week after that, we review those decisions and see the outputs, and did they materialize or not. Today, we can do same day decisions, same day execution, and test in the market the hypothesis that it took us much longer in the past. And these are small things like customer experience changes, to big things like pricing and packaging changes that you can just A/B test in real time. And sometimes even vibe code some solution to go to market as quick as possible. So for me, the signal to decision to execution cycle has always been something that I've been obsessed on, also on my personal style. And this is something that has really gone through a major acceleration with.
Lior, thanks. It's been super interesting. You blew me away with some of these answers, and it gave me a lot to think about. That's all for today's episode. Really happy we had you on the show. For anybody who's listening, have any questions, feel free to reach out to Lior here, and hope to see you on the next show. Thanks.
Thank you, Leo. Good to see you.